Let's dive right in. I want you to think about something for a second. What if a major global conflict was already happening, but most of us just hadn't realized it yet? Today, we're going to unpack how Russia's deeply held belief that it's already at war with the West is causing this huge strategic shift towards China, and what that actually means for all of us. So let's start with the date, December 28th, 2025. This isn't just some random date I pulled out of a hat. No. Our source material uses this to frame a very near future, one where all the simmering tensions we're seeing right now could finally boil over. It's meant to set the stage for a world where the so-called shadow war isn't in the shadows anymore. And this quote, well, it gets right to the heart of the matter. From Moscow's point of view, a war with what they call the collective West isn't something that might happen, it's happening right now. And you have to understand, this isn't just political grandstanding, it's a core conviction that is driving every single one of their decisions. All right, so first up, let's really break down this idea of a war that's already underway. Because this perception, this belief, is the engine behind everything Russia is doing on the world stage. To really get their point of view, you kind of have to follow the money. Since 2022, the US and its allies have poured over $175 billion in aid into Ukraine. Now, here in the West, we see that as helping a country defend itself. But in Moscow, they look at that number and see it as undeniable, concrete proof of direct Western involvement in the war against them. And this quote from their foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, basically spells out their logic. He's arguing that when weapons supplied by the West are used to hit Russian soul, that line between just supporting a country and being an active participant in the war gets incredibly blurry, dangerously blurry from their perspective. So you might be asking, why? How did they get to this point? Well, this view didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It's been built up over decades, on a foundation of what they see as a long list of grievances, going all the way back to the end of the Cold War. And this timeline is just absolutely crucial to understanding their mindset. Each of these events is like another brick in a wall of mistrust. It kicks off in the 90s with what Russia claims were broken promises about NATO not expanding eastward. Then you have the 1999 bombing of their ally Yugoslavia. Fast forward to 2003, the U.S. invades Iraq, bypassing the UN Security Council, where Russia has a veto. And for them, the final straw was the 2014 revolution in Ukraine, which Moscow is convinced was engineered by the West to completely encircle them. So, this is the kind of war Russia believes the West is waging against it, right now. We're not talking about tanks rolling across borders in the classic sense. No, this is a conflict fought with economic sanctions, with information campaigns, with political pressure, and by arming proxies. It's a war in the gray zone. And here's the real kicker. When Russia feels it's under attack with these hybrid methods, it responds in kind. Their whole doctrine is based on an asymmetric response. So instead of a head-on military fight they can't win, they hit back in other ways. Cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns, and most importantly for our story today, by building powerful new alliances. Which brings us to probably the single most important consequence of this worldview, the massive pivot to China. And look, this isn't just a partnership of convenience. This is a deep, strategic alignment that's born from a shared mission to challenge the US-led global order. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. Check out the parallel here. The US throws its weight behind Ukraine's sovereignty against Russia. So what does Russia do? It turns around and explicitly supports China's One China policy on Taiwan. It's a perfect mirror image, a strategic tit-for-tat playing out on a global chessboard. And believe me, this alliance isn't just talk. It has very tangible, very big numbers attached to it. By 2024, trade between Russia and China exploded to a record $240 billion. You see, China is buying up all the Russian energy the West won't touch, and in return, it's supplying Russia with the goods it needs to keep its economy and its war effort going. Of course, this raises a huge question. Is Russia becoming the junior partner in this whole deal? I mean, this chart just says it all, doesn't it? Look at that gap. China isn't just a trade partner anymore, it's an economic lifeline. The irony is that Western sanctions, which were designed to isolate Russia, have actually pushed it deeper into Beijing's arms. And this partnership goes way beyond money. We're seeing coordinated military moves, like massive joint naval drills. Diplomatically, they're putting out joint statements slamming what they call U.S. hegemonism. And in the information war, Russian state media is basically a loudspeaker for Beijing's talking points on Taiwan. It is a united front through and through. So with all that said, what does this all mean for the future? Well, this shadow war is creating multiple flashpoints all over the world where just one miscalculation, one mistake, could ignite a direct, open conflict between nuclear-armed powers. Here are the big ones to watch. A crisis over Taiwan is probably at the top of the list, but you've also got disputes over resources in the Arctic, the potential for a catastrophic cyber attack on our infrastructure, or a major unforeseen escalation in Ukraine. Any one of these could be the spark. It really is the question we should all be asking ourselves, right? In this super tense, hyper-connected world, what's the tripwire? What's that one little event that could trigger a chain reaction that nobody can stop? Okay, so what's the big takeaway here? The message from the source material isn't to panic. It's not about doomsday prepping. It's a call for clear-eyed vigilance. It's about truly understanding this new reality we're in so that we can navigate it smartly. The path forward is really about taking proactive steps. First, we have to bolster our own resilience, strengthening our energy grids, our cybersecurity, our economies. Second, we have to pursue diplomacy like our lives depend on it, keeping those back channels open to stop a crisis before it starts. And finally, for every single one of us, it's about learning to see through the fog of propaganda and disinformation that's coming from all sides. And we'll end on this really powerful thought from the source. The idea here is that knowledge, understanding what's really going on, is a kind of power. It's like a fire. And by wielding that fire, by facing this difficult reality head-on, we have the best chance to navigate these dangerous waters and hopefully forge a lasting peace out of an era of intense friction.